Hello, Jane Fays here from Sydney, Australia. In the previous video, I explained about how I'm about to start on another collage using this magazine image transfer, and it's quite possibly for a client who wants to buy the Exodus Woman collage that I made a few weeks ago. The client said that they loved purple, and so what I'm doing is creating some specific collage elements in a purple theme. So I'm just going to get rid of this so that I don't get any purple on it. And I'll just talk through how I'm creating some of these little collage elements. So this is, I've got some textured wallpaper, beautiful textured wallpaper that I've stamped on. First of all, to mix up my paint, I don't like using just a straight colour as much as possible. So what I've done is brought in some blue and red and mixed it on a palette. And I've been using a brayer. So mix that down, use a brayer, and then stamp the pattern onto tissue. Going onto tissue means that I can be selective in tearing out sections that I like and laying it on, and then once that is adhered with matte medium, it takes almost a transparent effect. It will be translucent, you'll still see it slightly, but it does give you some control over what you're putting in. And then again, my favourite little stamps, I've mixed up and then brayed on using these two stamps onto tissue. Another, just in case I want a little swash, I was just experimenting. Obviously the most natural thing is to do it straight onto the collage, but that's very bold, very risky, and I tend to play it a little bit safer. So I just was experimenting with putting a few swashes of paint on. And this is a technique that I learnt from a good friend and amazing artist called Karen Stamper, and I think it's quite a well known technique. I think they call them acrylic skins, and this is just making beautiful coloured tissue paper in the specific colour that you're wanting in your collage. And so this is the end result of mixing up some blue and red, like I showed you a moment ago, and with water and matte medium, and then scrunching applying that to a tissue and scrunching it all up. So I'll just show you that technique. And again, I thank Karen Stamper for showing us this in her collage, Free Up Your Sketchbooks and Grow. So I'm just going to put some water on there and a piece of tissue, just for the sake of the video. I'll make it a little bit smaller, just putting it on there, a little bit more water, and then with my palette and a bit of matte medium to just water down the colour. And again, the client wants purple, not a colour I work with terribly often. So I've just done a little mixture there, and I do want it quite sheer. I don't want it too opaque, and really just brushing that on. And these creases that you'll see in the tissue as it's wet is really all part of the design and the effect. So it is quite red, but there's little bits there that are more blue. I'll just grab A little bit more blue. So give it a bit more purpley tones. And the idea is don't completely mix the paint through, have it a bit random. And all the way to the edges. Now once I've done that, I just bring in the edges, and I say again, thank you to Karen Stamper. I don't claim this to be my own technique. She was the brainwave, the genius behind this one. And you can find her incredible collages online as well. So I'm just tearing this down the middle so that I can really gather the tissue in and crease it. Messy hands. And then, so you'll see that it's basically on a plastic sleeve with cardboard in it. So it's very, very clever technique. And then once you've done all that, you can leave it to dry. Really just bring in all those creases and tears and lovely effects. And the reason I'm doing this is that you can really just completely tailor make your colour scheme to suit whatever you're making. Tear off that dry. It's not needed. So we'll leave it there to dry and see how we go. As I showed you earlier, this is one I did earlier, and you just gradually, when it's dry, peel off those strips, and you've just got this lovely sheer tissue in a colour that you're wanting to use in your collage. So that gives you an idea. So when we get to the next video and I'm creating my collage, and you'll see some of these bits and some of these stamped elements as well, you'll know how they were created. So I'll see you in the next video.